Hi, my name is Hamit Kazancı and I'm the co-founder of Harmenide Design Studio. In this video, I would like to share a new design process cycle model that I would like to call as Harmenide Model with you in order to provide an insight to the way you work and somehow contribute the way you design. So let's begin. Here is the blank version of our model. It does look like an infinity shape, and as you can see, it has some inputs and output points. The model is made out of 9 different parts. We have color-coded them, and each of these 9 different parts have its own subdivisions, which I will be opening up, revealing them shortly. So without further waiting, we'll just move forward and start naming those each parts. So the idea, the thought that I would like to refer is the beginning of the model. This is the starting point. This is the spark point. So this is introduced to you generally by your client or your management or your marketing department if you're an internal designer. But this is the start point, spark point of the model, which then leads to the first part that I would like to call evaluation and planning. So this part has 2 subdivisions. It's planning, terms and conditions, and also resources and market analysis. So after the idea got introduced to you, you'll be starting to do some small secondary researches about the idea, if it's feasible or not, if it's doable, if it's already on the market or not, and what kind of a know-how is required. You need to estimate these right up at this point before you continue to the next part or start the design processes. And at that point, you need to be setting up your terms and conditions with your clients, and you need to plan out the whole process at this point. And design briefs and design agreements are generally signed at this point also. This part is very vital for the whole model, we can say. The next part is primary research, is the second part of our model, and it's vital for the design. As Harmenide Design Studio, we value primary research very much. For us, gathering qualitative data is vital for us to create, design innovative and authentic products to the market. And in terms of methods that we use in primary research, we can say contextual research methods, which is founded by ethnography, is the most efficient way to achieve us gathering qualitative data overall. And with the data gathered, we will be able to generate users that matches our demographics and create some user scenarios where we can find out stress points that design solutions could be applied in general. We also have an input in this part, in the primary research part, which is external and internal data, we would like to say. In terms of external data, you and your client or your company might require some marketing data that can be only provided by third-party researchers or third-party companies. And also, if you're working for a client, internal data, which can be know-how and engineering data or existing marketing data that can be applied to your new design research, new design solution right up front. So together with these, the design team will be generating insights. And once the insights are generated and your reports are done, you can now move on to the third part of the cycle. The third part of the cycle is called concept development and ideation. This is where majority of the design process models only focus on. And as from the name, it's right straightforward. This is where the creative processes begin. So 3D prototypes, 3D modeling, sketching, concept visualizations, service blueprints, service prototypes, all the details will start popping up and concepts will be formed. Usually in this section of the model, design teams generate a couple of concepts, and together with the client and other departments, they narrow down and find the design concept that they would like to pursue and they would like to, push forward. And at that point, there will be some discarded design concepts which will be outlined, and some of the features or some other designs could be kept internally and paused for the next cycle, or to be released in the future. All of these are handled at that section. And once the design concept is selected, the design team will move to the next part. The fifth part is called Design Refinements, and it has two subdivisions. The first part, subdivision, is functional prototyping beta test, where you start testing, making the functional prototypes of the selected concept. And the second subdivision is detailed revision and official documentation, which designers need to provide the client with the official documents. These are technical drawings, technical blueprints, the codes, the backlogs, and all the details, all the revised details need to be prepared in here. And they need to be prepared in a such way that, in case of any intellectual property applications required, the documents are suitable for this. So this is one of the most important part for the designer. We kind of separated this from the previous part in order to point out the official documentation and final refinements in that part. And once this part is complete, the team will move forward to the fifth part, and it will be completing the phase 1 of the design model, design process cycle model, sorry. So the right circle is called phase 1. And the fifth part is called the design. This is the finalized version of your design, even if it's a code, even if it's a print work, if it's a graphic design, all documentation, all visual documentation or written documentation, any kind of data that describes the final selected, approved version of your design goes to here. And this is the design. There is no activity in this part. This is just the design itself. It's way out. And it's on the bridge, we would like to call. The bridge to the phase 2. And the first part that we will be reaching on phase 2 is manufacturing. There are 4 subdivisions in the manufacturing part, and manufacturing is the 6th part. As you can see, engineering and coordination, auditing and troubleshooting, material selection, molds and tooling are all important for the designer to contribute. And in this part, designer will be doing the troubleshooting, quick revisions, quick inspections, checking the quality of the manufacturing, checking with the engineers if the design is manufactured correctly, or if any troubleshooting required, any quick revision is required, or material selection is also important for designers too. And it goes without saying, molds and toolings are always required if it's a physical product, and they need to be inspected by the designer so that it contributes the efficiency of the manufacturing. So the 7th part is distribution. Distribution has 4 subdivisions, and of course it involves packaging design, which is by considering the shipping, of course, supply line planning, again looking at the packaging design and looking at the demand, service updates and certificates required. These also involves the manuals, the assembly instructions, if it's some kind of a furniture or a product that needs to be assembled at the final location. They all need to be considered, and designer needs to be involved in this part also. And legal documentation required by different countries, different towns, different regulations also needs to be considered, and proper technical documentation needs to be provided. And many of the projects that we do in Harmenide always involve the assembly instructions in the project to be designed by us. And next part, which is the 8th part, is sales and marketing. And this part has also 4 subdivisions. And as you can see, the first part is the sales channels and the sales of the products, or the subscriptions of your products. And as you can see with the brown arrows, a portion of your design is leaving the circle, it's going out to the customers, and it's out of the cycle at that point. And what falls in as subdivisions into this part is, launching, ad campaigns, partnership, discounts, promotions, all the sales strategy, sales planning, and also lead generation, demand calculation, customer database forming, and marketing strategy analysis and performance reporting all takes place in this part. And the important part for the designer is the marketing and sales team. We'll be looking at the demographics that you're targeting in your primary research in order to conduct these strategies. Because at this point, you have designed your product for a specific user with the demographics in mind, with the scenario in mind. So they will be aiming that user group primarily, and then expand and test out to reach out more users in order to increase sales. But I'm trying to say that at this point, designers, the data that provided by designers are still very vital. And at this point, designers gathering feedback data from marketing department constantly in order to update the design, in order to revise what's going on, in order to check if their assumptions are right or not. And the next and most important part of the model, the part that created this infinity shape form, is the feedback part. As the 9th part, the feedback part has 5 different subdivisions. And to begin with, in the feedback, internal evaluation and internal feedback is the first one. So these are management's evaluation in the general process, what happened in the phase 2. And plus product performance, extra costs that occurred in manufacturing and in distribution, surpluses, products are not sold, or malfunctions that occurred in the manufacturing or after manufacturing structures will also form as a feedback and fall into the 9th part. Updated system requirements, new trends, and market report also falls into this category and falls into this part, 9th part. You may be questioning why it's not inside the marketing, the previous part. That's because the marketing and sales part only focuses on marketing and selling the design. This is feedback. Feedback part kind of comes back to your design. That's the point. And new updates, new system requirements, new trends and new market reports kind of challenges your design, and it comes back to your design. That's why we decided to implement this as a feedback. And there's 2 more lines that's going to add on to this feedback part. They are repairs and returns and user feedbacks. These are all coming from outside, and thanks to the sales occurred in the previous part, if you can establish an effective communication with your customers and clients, you will be able to receive qualitative feedback from them by using their products, or by them returning their products for repair or returning for other purposes. So they are all forming the general 9th part, the feedback part. So what happens next is that the 9th part, the feedback part, impacts the design, 5th part, and it breaks it down. This is very natural, by the way, and this is the main reason that we had to form our model as the infinity shape. When we look at the previous design cycle models that we have been using in the last years, in a couple of years, we found that the feedback part is looking like a contribution to the design. It's just, a way of bridging the circle gap, or, extending the line. But for us, actually, the feedback part is the part that changes your design. It needs to impact your design. As I said before, it's very natural for the feedback to impact the design. And what happens after that? You will be receiving fragmented design parts. So your design is not the same again, because it ran through the phase 2 and it ran through a lot of troubles, gathered a lot of feedback from different departments, from users, for clients. And what you have in fragmented design is fragmented design pieces that went through successfully through the phase 2. And what needs to be done aftermath is that it needs to be combined with the new ideas that aids them to pass through the phase 2 far more effectively and run phase 1 too. So the cycle continuously runs. It's an infinite cycle. And if you're asking, you'll probably ask that, what's the optimum of this one? Is it going to impact every time and break my design? No, actually, we expect little friction in the second run. So little friction is optimum in this model. We need little friction of the feedback to the design, because system requirements always change, market trends always change, user demands always change. We're not living in a perfect world, so no design can be perfect and no design can escape the feedback's friction. But instead of breaking the design down in the first cycle, the best part, the optimum result actually will be to create a friction between feedback and the design, 9th and the 5th part. And this way, you'll be receiving a proper design result. So there you have it. We have now revealed the full 2D version of the Harmenide model for you, with all subdivisions and additional. But I have to say, it's actually a 3D model that we are developing. But I'm not going to go over the 3D version and include the height into this video due to the already existing complexity. But you now understood the full idea and the reason that we have created this model to show the impact. What we try to achieve is to create a communicative map for us to communicate better with our clients. And in order to add more details on this model, I would like to take a couple of more minutes too. The control that you can achieve of your design is far more higher in phase 1 than phase 2. Once you pass the design refinements and get it approved by your clients, once you go over the bridge, the design bridge, the 5th part, you will have less control on your design. And many third parties, many people will be involved in your design, and it will be hard for you to maneuver. And we kind of roughly estimated that phase 2 is 5 times more expensive than phase 1. So in most cases, it's important to stop at concept refinement, the 4th part, and check if the design can succeed phase 2, or should it go back to the top part where the idea got introduced, and run phase 1 again to really define, create the effective design solution for it to cross the bridge to the phase 2. And this is the final version with the titles over the sections without subdivisions revealing itself. And this is the final look that we have achieved. So yes, thank you for your time. Please feel free to use this model, give us a feedback, contact us regarding this model. And if you have any additional extensions that you might want to add, please do so. Use it as you want. This is our contribution to design, and I hope we can somehow make your work better, make your design better and effectively. So thank you for your time again, and hope to see you in another video where we talk about our new designs. Bye.